describe Parkinson's disease in one or two words, what would those words be?
A challenge, a major challenge with living, yeah, definitely.
I probably had symptoms for several years before I got diagnosed. The first symptom I noticed was when I was walking, I lost swing motion in my right arm. My left arm was swinging, but my right arm wasn't. And actually what got me to the doctors was through the emergency. My physiotherapist went for physio, and he said, I don't think this is quite right what's going on. And I went to emergency, and from there I got a referral to a neurologist, and then I got diagnosed.
If you had to describe Parkinson's disease in one or two words, what would those words be?
It's different every day. Today is not a great day. And I don't know what causes that. Some days are better than others.
And yet your struggle with your Parkinson is hourly.
Yeah.
And so it's very disappointing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Because I think people think that we're not as bright as somebody else just because of sometimes the slurred, the way your speech is, sometimes cognitive stuff, but I don't think that's what it's about at all. Some people have the facial masking, so people will think that they're, not interacting with other people, but it's a disease, so it's just that lack of understanding.
I have a lot of people say to me, you don't look like you have Parkinson's, which I kind of chuckle to myself, because I think if you only knew what it felt like inside, you'd have a better understanding. But that's okay. I don't expect people to know what it's all about unless you're affected by it.
If you had to describe Parkinson's disease in one or two words, what would those words be?
One or two words. For me, rigidity and slowness.
I said, I can't get my leg to stop shaking, but just put it off to the cold and the excitement. And then the next incident was probably about a year later, where I noticed the same type of tremor in my leg, and I was in a job interview, and it was a really intense job interview with two men, and they were drilling me, and same type of situation. It was I was uptight, and so I noticed it really quite a bit. But then again, it sort of went away. But then probably about 6 or 8 months later, I noticed I was having trouble putting my hair in a ponytail. I couldn't get the elastic twisted, and I was having trouble putting on my shoes. I'd have to actually bend over and put my shoe on as opposed to sliding my foot into my shoe. And that's when I went to the doctor and said something's going on. So we started the testing from that point.
Primarily the tremors and what they call dyskinesia, which is an uncontrolled movement of primarily my right leg. Those are the symptoms I experience pretty well daily.
Your wonderful neurological test. Tap your fingers. Nose to the...
Foot to foot.
Yeah, that's right. Walk from that corner to that corner, and then turn around and come back again.
Yeah.
That's how scientific the test is for Parkinson's. It's not. There's so many different non-motor, and then they don't talk about that. And even when I go to see my neurologist, it's never brought up. You know, and I was told last time that there, you know, I shouldn't be having the pain that's not related to Parkinson's, but pain is a part of Parkinson's. You know, it is one of the non-motor symptoms as well, that you can experience pain. There's a lot of non-motor symptoms. And I think that, you know, it's important for us to bring those up as well with our doctors and our neurologists, because for some people they're a bigger part of Parkinson's than it is the physical part of it, right?
Just over a year ago, I sort of had hit a low point in the fall of, I guess it would have been 2014. I mentally hit a low, and because part of Parkinson's comes the depression, I guess, with any illness that you get, just dealing with the disease and the lack of dopamine. That combination gives you sometimes depression. So I was on medication for that, and I had hit a point where the medication wasn't really helping, and I was again sort of at a loss of what to do. And so I went to a local fitness club, and I said, I need to find a coach that's going to help me get better physically and mentally. So I was hooked up with a fitness coach, and we started a training program. And we started in January of last year, and I've been training every day with my coach since, and I was able to come off the medication, that was my main goal. And my husband was doing his own research and trying to figure out what it meant to him having me have the diagnosis. And he came across an organization called The Light of Day, which fundraises for Parkinson's, and it's all music-based. So my husband's a musician, and I went to school for recreation and special event planning years and years ago and never actually tapped into it. So he said, why don't we do a fundraiser? And we sat around the kitchen table and we thought, yeah, let's do this. But we had no idea what to fundraise for, and we were worried about selling 200 tickets. So we got a couple people together, and then we went to visit my doctor, and we were telling him what we were thinking, and he made a suggestion about sponsoring a student who was studying in Parkinson's, and that's where this all came out, to raise enough money that he could hire a student for the summer. And we ended up our first year with 550 people, and we're amazed because we were, like I said, worried about selling 200 tickets because we were committed to 200 tickets, and of course we had no money to pay for those 200 if we didn't sell them. And we raised about $25,000 the first year, and then the next year it grew to 650 people and raised, I think, $30,000. And then last year we sold out pretty much at 750 and raised about $42,000. So we're close to that 100,000 point in fundraising.
That's awesome.
Then I just thought, you know what, I'll live with it. I won't let it control me, I'll live with it, I'll deal with it.
I thought, I'm 54 years old, I can't have Parkinson's. Because I associated Parkinson's too with somebody that was older, and a tremor as well, which I didn't have a tremor, so I didn't, it was pretty I was in disbelief for sure.
The initial reaction was because I had been going to one doctor, and then they sent me to another doctor for different tests, and then I ended up at a neurologist. It sort of was, well, it can't be because I'm too young. It has to be something else. And he wanted to send me for another opinion. So I thought, okay, well, maybe he's wrong. So that's, I was hopeful leaving the doctor's office waiting for the second opinion. But turns out it wasn't wrong, so.
I think there's no way of knowing whether you're going to get it or not. So enjoy your life when you're young and do what you want to do. And just because if it happens, you have to deal with it. But just in general, enjoy yourself.